What's up, everyone, and welcome to MCUnhinged, MCUnhinged. I am your host, Tyler, and with me, as always, is Shawn and Shibuya. How's it going?
It's going good.
What's up? I really don't want to talk about this movie. I really don't want to talk about this movie.
Well, Shawn, that's way too bad, because that's exactly why we would gather here today. So, of course, this is the podcast where we talk about, recap, and do a bunch of other stuff with the MCU movies and eventually some of the shows. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, listen there. You can find us on Anchor, comment. There's a video version on Spotify as well, or you can watch it on YouTube at Tall Rims. All the links and descriptions and stuff. Just got to make sure to plug all that. But today, Shawn, what movie are we talking about?
This week, we are talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, directed by James Gunn, written by James Gunn, released on May 7th, 2017?
It was like first.
I don't know.
Week
I
of
just
May,
write.
I think,
I just
yeah.
write down the year. I don't do like the specific date.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. May 5th, fuck! Wait, that might have been the premiere. Hold on. Yeah, May 5th. It was May 5th. Damn it. I was close, though. I was close. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Comes in at a whopping 2 hours and 16 minutes.
Yeah,
It sure does.
Sure fucking felt like it, too.
Well, a budget of $232.3 million. A box office.
Man, really?
$863 million.
Man, really?
$756,051 worldwide, with a 45.1% domestic and 54.9% international split. Has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 85 from critics and 87 from audiences.
Mm-hmm.
An IMDb of 7.6 and a Google of 87%. And let me tell you, it came out.
It did. It was a movie.
This is a Marvel movie from 2017, yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, after Tyler finished watching and taking notes on the movie, he put in a Discord server that we're both in. He just posted Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 ... And then it's a GIF of Homelander from The Boys, just kind of like exhaling, like.
Oh, it's the one of him like huffing. Oh, yeah.
So I'm really not sure what he thought of it, and so I asked, "What'd you think?" And he said, "Oh, you know." And then it's a GIF of this dude sitting at a fire that's saying, "You'll soon find out." So Tyler, it's time for us to find out. What did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
He just posted the Homelander GIF again. Does not elaborate.
So, I've been trying not to play my hand too much,
Mm-hmm.
because, I got to talk about this. But this is probably the best Marvel movie that's ever came out. It's just so fucking good.
Really?
From tip to toe, dude. From tip to toe.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
It looks like we run.
I'm lying very hard.
Oh, thank God! Thank God! Oh my! I thought
Jesus.
Civil War was going to be a difficult episode, but at least we all agreed
the
that
real
it was
Civil War
good.
was Guardians Volume 2, actually.
I was like, oh my God! Oh, I had an actual heart attack. Oh my God! I was so scared for the next hour of my life.
It's just like when we jumped in call and you were like, so Spider-Man this week, right, guys? Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, the Homecoming Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He did this bit for a minute fucking straight. I need you to understand that I hopped in call and I had to doubt myself on what movie we watched this week.
But yeah, this is definitely a movie. And it's all right. It's okay. It's got some good moments, but it's got some bad moments. It's got some weird moments.
Yeah.
I feel like that's Tyler after revealing it was all a fucking joke.
Yeah. So what do you think? Guardians 2 or Guardians 1, Tyler?
Definitely Guardians 1.
Oh, thank God. Bless. Oh, I actually just I did the thing where I kissed my fist and I put my hand up in the air. Genuinely, I looked up at him and I was like, thank the Lord, somebody else
God.
is not fucking nuts off their mind.
What is it with you two hating movies and me having to be like, I think it's fine?
I don't hate this movie. I
don't hate this movie.
I think this movie is fine. I just have been talking to a lot of people recently that are like, oh yeah, it cleans the first movie. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. The first movie is, I think, so much better than this movie.
Okay. I'm gonna say a little something, and you're not gonna get upset at me.
Okay.
That's not what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think what it probably is, because we would do this a lot in my house around this era of Marvel, like 2013 to 2016, 17, where we would just put certain Marvel movies on all the time. And it happened with Guardians 1 and Spider-Man Homecoming specifically a lot, where we would just watch them so much in my house because we enjoyed them. And over time, unless it's like one of my absolute favorites, that tends to lessen the impact that the movie has on me. So when I say Guardians 2 is refreshing compared to the first, I mean it in that specific sense.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And origin stories for me, like, they're fun the first couple times, and then I'm just like, I know how it is. Come on, we can wrap this up, buddy. We can just skip ahead. And with Volume 2 specifically, it's really interesting because that's a movie I have not seen since probably May 5th, 2017.
Yeah, me neither.
Within the first couple weeks of it coming out, I went to go see it in the theater with friends, and then I did not watch it again until today. So, yeah. I'm excited to hear specific opinions other than just like, yeah, it doesn't clear the first movie, because I would probably agree. I think it's safe to say that, but I don't know.
But also, like, I'm sure as people can tell from when we did the Guardians 1 episode, I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie is my number 1 on our list. Like, it's I think that movie is perfect. So, like, or as close to perfect as a movie can be. I get no movie is perfect, yada yada. I feel like I don't need to say that, but
it's perfect.
I do on the internet
by your standards.
I guess, yeah. On the internet, somebody will say, "Oh, perfect." It's like, yeah, I know nothing's perfect, but because I love the first one so much, I think this one, perfect. I think this one is more disappointing to me because and I think also the first time I saw it, I was like, that was good, but like I was expecting excellence after the first one. And I think now I feel like it was just okay. And I was expecting so much more because James Gunn, to me, has killed it with Guardians, killed it with Suicide Squad, and killed it with Peacemaker, that I like expect more from him. And so in a way, this movie feels worse to me because I have such high standards for James Gunn and superheroes.
Yeah. I can understand that. At the same time, 2 of the 3 things you listed off happened after this movie.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
In comparing it to Guardians 1, I absolutely understand. With the others, I think, grain of salt, because it's before those.
Yeah, and that's why I'm still really excited for 3. Because like I think he's grown a ton through the other 2, even after 2 came out. It's not like I rewatched 2 and I was like, I didn't really like that. I'm not excited for 3 anymore. I'm still like, I didn't like this one that much, but he's made some really great stuff since then that I've enjoyed, so I'm still excited to see what he does with 3.
You know what I'm excited for in 3?
What?
Something that's a little crazy with some of these newer Marvel sequels, right? But like following up on some of the ending stuff that was set up. That's crazy, bro. Like that's You thought I couldn't do it.
I can't believe that you managed to get a shot in at Multiverse of Madness in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 episode.
That was your one. You've used it early. I hope you enjoyed that. Because anything else after this point, and I will fucking get you.
I can't believe you did that. Oh, so the movie starts in 1980 something.
This is 1980. And we see Meredith Quill, played by Laura Haddock. No affiliation to the woman from the first Avenger.
Oh, what?
The first Avenger. Remember that one woman has Cap sign something when he comes home from a rally or whatever?
Yeah.
Played by Laura Haddock, and people are like,
Oh.
"Does that mean is Star-Lord Captain America's grandson?" No.
Implying Steve Rogers fucked a woman in the 40s. Yeah, way to go, champ.
Oh.
But and we get Ego here, played by Kurt Russell. And they're driving on a sunny day. They go to a Dairy Queen, and behind it in the woods, he shows her some kind of space flower.
God damn it! Don't say it like.
Hey, baby, can I show you my seed?
Well,
It's out in the forest. It's over here.
They go into the forest behind the Dairy Queen, and he shows her his space flower. I don't know you want.
He shows her his seed. Let's be clear.
He
It is
does.
his seed.
He does. The de-aging on Kurt Russell in this is really good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really fucking good.
He looks great. And also I love the song at the beginning. The Brandy.
Yeah, Brandy is a
Yeah.
very good song. The fact that it becomes like an overarching thing throughout the movie, I think, is interesting.
Yeah.
And movies at the very least based when it plays "The Chain" by Fleetwood Mac twice.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it does.
Banger fucking song.
Of course.
But this space seed will soon be all across the universe. And he's like, "My heart is yours, Meredith Quill. I can't believe I fell in love with a spaceman."
Why is she Kermit? Why'd you make her fucking Kermit the Frog?
No, that's what she sounds like.
Yeah. 34 years later on the Sovereign.
On the
Sorry.
Sovereign or in the Sovereign? Like, is
Sovereign
the planet called the Sovereign?
My phone is blowing the fuck up. Leave me alone. No, Sovereign's the planet. So on Sovereign, on the Sovereign,
Huh.
the Guardians are getting ready to fight an interdimensional space monster to stop it from feeding on their like Annulax batteries. Everyone's suited up except for Drax, who isn't wearing the gear because he has sensitive nipples.
Yeah.
Rocket is setting up some tunes, but everyone else thinks that isn't a priority. But he's picking up what Quill's putting down. Wink, wink. Baby Groot punches some little alien things for looking at him funny. I don't know.
So Drax at one point. Okay. Drax in this movie is Drax as Drax will continue to be for the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, this is the descent of Drax.
This is
Fall of
Drax.
Look out for the YouTube documentary.
The problem with
The down-
Drax.
Problem with
Down the
Drax.
rabbit hole, Drax.
Yeah. Hashtag cancel Drax. It's so like one of the notes I wrote down is I don't understand why Drax isn't confused by Rocket's winking, but is instead complaining about his sensitive nipples, which is like because Drax being like, "What are you doing? I don't understand. Why do you keep blinking your eye like that?" Like that's what Drax would do, right? Based off of the first movie, like we've established that like something that does not mean directly what you would assume confuses him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
And it's
instead
not
he's like,
it's not like they've been together for long.
No.
We're still in 2014.
yeah. I just it's I don't think it's a problem right here, but I think that it is indicative of like the bigger problem with Drax,
The
which is
continued
that
misunderstanding of the fundamentals of his character going forward.
they kind of drop what I thought was so funny about him in the first movie, and instead are like, let's just have him say crazy shit. And
Now,
we're gonna see more of that.
I think the thing in this opening scene, the reason that they did not have him complain about the winking is probably specifically because of the nipple line. And to be fair, I think the nipple line is funny. I think that is still something that Drax would just say, and he would be
Yeah,
so
you're
ridiculous
right.
about it. Having him comment on the winking and do the nipple thing is a bit much. And I think in the rest of the movie, yes, there is a major issue with his characterization. It stops being about him misunderstanding things and starts being about him being an asshole because it's funny.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
especially in his relationship with Mantis. But
Yeah, we'll get to that.
yeah.
So the monster comes in and they battle They battle it to a very well shot sequence.
Yeah, it looks great,
The focus is mostly on Groot dancing.
which is awesome.
I hate Baby Groot. Drax decides that the skin is too tough to
Look,
penetrate from the
he's not an
outside.
issue yet.
Yeah,
In this movie, he is fine and he serves a plot function, and he's not the worst.
So I actually have a question about Baby Groot here.
Okay.
What's the thing about Groot freezing around Drax? Like, I know that we got it like as a bit at the end of Guardians 1, and it was like, oh, that's weird, but it comes back again here, and I just don't. Why?
Maybe
Why does he
Drax
do that?
has an issue with dancing because during that entire sequence, Groot is specifically like breaking it down.
I guess maybe that's it.
Honestly, if there is like an overarching reason, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's just I've never asked that question before until
If you know, let us know in the comments down below, because we have
What's
no
that
fucking
about?
idea.
It's a little weird.
So Drax decides the skin is too tough to penetrate from the outside, so he gets Vord to take it out from the inside. No one else thought this was a good plan, but Quill has an idea.
It is great though. I love the shot of him inside, like as he's
Yeah,
just
and then
slicing
Gamora
away.
and Quill just taking a break from trying to kill
Yeah.
the thing to just be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? That doesn't change anything. The skin's
Yeah.
the same thickness. And Gamora's like, I know, I tried to tell him. You know
Yeah.
he doesn't fucking listen.
Yeah.
So Quill and Rocket distract it while Gamora slices it with a sword. I do like the bit earlier where he's like, wait, you're using a gun? But aren't you like the sword person?
You're like, guns are supposed to be my thing, and then swords
I guess
are
we're
your
both
thing.
using
I
guns
didn't,
now,
I didn't
huh?
know guns were your thing too now.
Doesn't she use a sword in the first movie? I don't like.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
that's why.
Yeah.
That's the point.
yeah. Does she use a gun in the first movie too? I don't know.
I don't remember specifically. I think like the major thing though was that she was better with like the melee weapon.
This is part of my problem with the movie of just there's jokes where I'm like, okay, but is that true? Like I get that you think that this is a funny moment to like have this joke here, but like does this actually make sense? Where I think a lot of the jokes in the first movie do make a lot of sense. And this is one of those jokes where I was like, but why is this the joke? This isn't, I don't know. I don't know.
The joke is Quill is insecure.
I guess.
He doesn't want people stepping on his turf, and that actually comes back later. So, I'll give this one a pass.
Yeah.
You could say he's a little egocentric.
You could say
that was pretty good.
his ego's a little fragile right now.
Oh, that was also pretty good.
Thank you.
But they have successfully defended the Anulax battery. And there's a bit in here about the Harbulary batteries. I didn't laugh, but it's here. Here it is.
Yeah, this one, not funny anytime they do it.
They are thanked by Queen Aisha, who tells them that every sovereign citizen is born exactly as designed by the community through DNA control. But Quill prefers to make people the old-fashioned way.
This is pretty funny.
And
Yeah.
Aisha says that maybe she can get a lesson for academic purposes. Hey, yo.
Hey, yo!
Gamora's had enough of this flirting and asks for the reward so they can leave. And that reward happens to be Nebula.
Oh shit.
Let's
They're going
go.
to turn her into the Nova Corps. Before they leave, Aisha asks Quill about his lineage. He only knows his father ain't from Missouri. Rocky.
No, Rocky's
Rocket-
later in the movie.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
later. Rocket makes some off the cuff remarks that were supposed to be behind their backs. And he reveals to Drax that he stole some of their batteries. The same crime Nebula was captured for.
Yeah. Don't you guys know that Rocket's an idiot?
See something. They fly off to collect their bounty on Nebula, and we get the obligatory shirtless Quill shot where he talks about how he doesn't know his father. He apologizes for flirting with the Queen, but Gamora says that she doesn't care if he was. Drax says that she's not the one for him. There are two types of beings in this universe, those who dance and those who do not. He talks about how he met his wife at a war rally where she refused to dance, which engorged his nether regions. You just need to find a woman who's pathetic like you. While Gamora and Nebula bond like real sisters, a sovereign fleet approaches them. and everyone is confused as to why until Drax spills the beans that Rocket stole some of those batteries. They get chased and shot while Rocket's defense for stealing the batteries is that they're really easy to steal. He pretty much goes ham on the gun controls, but all the Sovereign fleet are remotely piloted.
Like an arcade.
It's
It's really cool.
They literally use arcade sound effects.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
As I called it, it was the Ready Player One pods.
They are, except less stupid.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow. I love this. Well, no, I didn't love this line, but I wrote this line down because I thought it was funny. And by funny, I mean not funny. When Gamora is like, can we put the bickering on hold until we survive this massive space battle? In my head, I was just thinking of all those videos where people make fun of Marvel dialogue, but like, it's never really like, it's not a real Marvel dialogue. Like they're turning it up to 11, and it's always like, hey, what are you talking about?
Well, I guess that happened.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. Like nobody actually says that in these movies.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, that shit never actually happens in these movies. But it did happen right there, because that line is pretty bad. That line, it's funny to look at and be like, wow, I can't believe she said that. But it's pretty bad.
I'm gonna say something, and it's gonna be really offensive.
Okay.
To people who know what I'm talking about. That's a Cowboy Bebop live action line.
Oh my god.
Oh, Egg's favorite.
Yeah, Egg loves Cowboy Bebop live action.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have words with Egg.
Please
we
do.
got a problem.
Please, I need you to talk to Egg and bring up the fact about how much he loves the Cowboy Bebop live action. Like, make sure it comes up.
I watched an episode. I gave it a chance. Not even for John Cho Spike Spiegel. I couldn't do more than a single episode.
Yeah.
I sat through the entire first episode out of courtesy, and then I dropped it like a fucking anchor.
He thinks that it's better than the original. I don't know.
I can't admit what I'm gonna do on content. Oh boy, this time I'm gonna do it.
So Aisha has the admiral order the pilots to shoot to kill, even though the batteries are highly combustible. They need to go through a quantum asteroid field in order to get to a warp point out of here. But Quill and Rocket are arguing over who gets to be the one to fly through it. As they wrestle the control back and forth, the ship gets its back blown out, and their weapons are down. While one sovereign ship is still on their tail.
Zylak,
Zylak, baby.
Zylak. Dude, let's go. Oh.
Drax puts on a spacesuit and heads outside to shoot the ship down.
Dude, I love when he's walking. When he's walking out. I love when Drax is walking out to go do it, and Gamora's just got this. Not Gamora, Nebula has just got this fruit that she's trying to eat.
And he kicks it.
And as she's about to get it, he like kicks it, and he just goes, "It's not ripe."
Yeah, that running gag is genuinely pretty good.
Yeah. Dude, poor Zylak. He did so good too.
Like, he was literally the last one to survive. All the rest of them fucked up, and they still clown on this man.
They still clown on that man.
You suck, Zylak. Like, bro, what the fuck? You all
and
died.
You don't?
The girl who said it was the first one we saw get killed by Rocket. She's like, damn it! Pounding the controls like she lost the game of Overwatch, dude. On the other side of the field, the Sovereign ships have gone around and are blasting the Milano, but someone destroys them all in a fell swoop. It's a person on top of an egg.
There is something so effortlessly cool about Kurt Russell. And even from like afar, where you can barely see him standing on top of that thing and waving, where you're just like, damn,
it's his vibes.
That's a cool dude. You know, you're like, you're just a cool guy.
He's got like his space slingshot that he's rocking. He's in his suit. He's got the goggles. He just waves on his egg, and you're like, thanks, man.
You're like, you could barely see him, but you're like, man, he's cool.
Yeah.
What was that? So the Guardians go to the warp point and they crash land on Bearheart. Gamora is fed up with the bickering between Quill and Rocket, especially when it just almost got them killed. Rocket stole the batteries because he wanted to, and while they're arguing, the Nebula, who lies pretty badly, the ship that saved them lands And it isn't a 1-inch man, which was a joke, but a woman and Kurt Russell. The man's name is Ego, and he's Peter Quill's father.
Whoa.
Oh shit.
But
But forget all that for a minute. On Contraxia.
actually, a
The-
really good edit here, by the way. Just the idea of him saying, that I'm Peter's father or whatever, and then where we cut to is pretty good.
On Contraxia, the Ravagers are partying up at a strip club or something.
Yeah,
They
I think
do
it's
a
like
lot of things
brothel
here.
or something.
They do a lot of things here. And Howard the Duck is here as well.
Yo!
Yep.
Yondu has just finished wetting the old whistle.
Like old
Downstairs,
Rooker,
downstairs we meet Stakar, played by Sylvester Stallone.
Dude, he's so cool in this movie.
He
Yep.
isn't happy to see Yondu and heads out, saying that they've just lost the business of 99 Ravager fractions by serving Yondus. Yondu betrayed the code. Ravagers don't deal in kids.
Dude,
Yondu wants a seat at the table. And Stakar's like, you may dress like us, but you'll never hear the horns of freedom when you die, Yondu. And the colors of reward will never flash over your grave.
God, this might be my favorite scene in the whole movie. Sylvester Stallone is so cool.
Taserface is sensing weakness in Yondu, saying he's gone soft. Kraglin and what's his name? What's his name?
The Irish guy.
Tulk.
Okay.
Think about the guy from Peacemaker and Suicide Squad.
No, that's Greg or something. I forget his name. It's not Greg, but it's something close to that. Jeb? No, I don't know.
Just call him Greg from now on.
But Kraglin and Tulk tell him to watch his mouth, but then Aisha appears on Contraxia and they slowly roll out her carpet. It's pretty funny as
yeah.
they get stuck. And she has a proposition for Yondu. Cut back to Ego, who tells Quill that he hired Yondu to pick him up when Meredith died. He doesn't know why Yondu kept him, but he's been looking for Quill this whole time. He says that even where he lives, he's heard of Star-Lord. They should go to his planet now. Even the crew are invited, but Quill isn't buying it. The woman introduces herself to Drax as Mantis, played by Palm Clementif. She smiles at him, but he doesn't like it. He says he was raised alone on Ego's planet, but she's not versed in social interaction, and asks to pet the puppy, Rocket. While Gamora and Quill take a walk, she recalls the story of Zardu Hasselfrau.
Oh, yes.
David Hasselhoff, who, as a kid, Quill would carry a picture of him and say that he was his dad, but was out of town on tour. He encourages him to spend some time with his real dad, and if he ends up being evil, we'll just kill him.
I don't know if they planned this, but because I don't really think it comes up in the movie, but maybe it's subtext that they are just hoping the audience will catch on to. But I think this whole scene of Gamora really pushing for Peter to reconnect with his dad as a whole thing, she obviously has a fucking terrible relationship with her own surrogate father figure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something pretty good there about her kind of trying to live vicariously a little bit through him and pushing him to do something that maybe he's not super comfortable with because she's desperate for that chance. And I don't know. I don't really think that's in the movie. And so I don't know if they planned it like that, but that's how I choose to read it, and I think it's pretty good.
Well, by this point, I'm sure they knew at least part of what Infinity War was going to be cooking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feige probably had a some sort of plan. So
I mean, the movie was coming out in a year after this, so they must have.
Yeah. So even while this was in pre-production, they were still writing stuff. I'm sure there was a little heads up of hey, this is sort of vaguely what might be going on. If you want to just slide that in there.
Yeah.
And I do agree that it's a very good little nod to her character and where she comes from, and it's her sort of trying to give Peter the chance that she could never have because her surrogate father is fucking Thanos.
Yes. I think to an extent we'll get into later, I think it's also a little unfair of her. He doesn't seem super comfortable with it, and I do think a part of it is I think she kind of pushes him into something that he didn't want to do because she's desperate for for that, which I don't think is extremely fair to him, especially with how she treats him later on in the movie.
Yeah.
But that might be just because I don't like how she treats him later on in the movie.
I don't think it's entirely unfair, at least not at this point with this context, because like Quill is still being like, all right, we'll check it out, but I feel like it's gonna be a scam and we'll leave, and then he gets roped further in. So
yeah,
at this point, her just being like, at least try it, not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly still fucked up over his dad, you know.
Yeah.
He's got his own dad issues.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't have dad issues in this group, you know?
Okay. Anyway, so then Rocket says something really mean.
No, Shawn, name someone who doesn't have dad issues in this group.
And then I'm not, I didn't say anything. Rocket says
Drax,
something.
He might be the only one.
And I wrote down, Jesus, Rocket, you're just fucking mean. I don't remember what he said, but it was just mean.
Lucky for you, it has a swear word in it. He says, so Quill, Gamora, and Drax are going with Ego and Mantis back to his planet, while Rocket, Groot, and Nebula stay behind, while Rocket repairs a ship. And Rocket doesn't send Quill off with some kind words. He says, I hope Daddy isn't as big of a dick as you, orphan boy.
Like, Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
It's called lashing out.
Absolutely. It's just like, oh my God, Rocket.
Yeah.
The trio take off in the flying sperm off to Ego's planet.
No, Quill it's a flying egg. We established earlier it was an egg, so it's a flying egg.
It's got a tail on it. I don't know. When it's flying, it's got like a tail. I don't know if that's, I mean, Ego is spreading the seeds, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Why does he need sperm on a ship if he's already spreading his seed?
God, I fucking hate Ego. I hate Ego
No,
so
see,
much.
the ship is the sperm, and the planets are the eggs.
Christ, please.
Calling planets a yonic symbol is a hell of a thing to get into. And I think I'm going to cut it off here.
Shawn, your thoughts?
So, Ego says that he's a celestial, and I just want to...
No, we're not there yet.
I just want to bring up, the celestial lore in this movie pretty much doesn't at all work with Eternals.
No, I was watching or the last Guardians movie, you know, where we saw a standard celestial.
I'm gonna put this on Eternals because I think that Guardians is vague enough about celestials, like the first one, that as Ego starts to explain what being a celestial is like we didn't really get an explanation of it in the first one. So this is now the established what being a celestial is, and Eternals changes that. Now, I like what Eternals does with the Celestials better, so I choose to subscribe to that version of it. But I was watching this movie and I was like, man, this does not mesh at all.
I mean, I still think it's incongruent with the first one still, because we do see like a standard looking celestial like you would see in Eternals, like using the Power Stone to destroy a planet or something, whatever they do. And like, you know, if he's why doesn't he a planet, or why doesn't
that's
Ego?
True, we do see him in the flashback, don't we? I forgot that we see the Celestial in the flashback when they're explaining the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, Ego's just kind of weird. But so on the ship, Quill and Drax resolve a bet about Mantis' antenna. She tells them they might have something to do with her empathic abilities. If she touches someone, she can feel their feelings. He touches Quill's hand and says that he feels romantic sexual love for Gamora. And Drax is laughing pretty hard, as he's wont to do throughout this movie. And when she reads his feelings, she feels extreme humor. He tries to touch Gamora, but Gamora's like, nah, dog, I'm not going to do that.
No, not even. Gamora just grabs her by like her arm band, and she's like, touch me, and the only thing you'll feel is a broken hand.
Yeah. I love I was gonna say I love Mantis. I think Palm. I don't think Mantis is given a ton in this movie. But Palm Clementov, or I don't know how you say her last name, but she's very, very good in this movie.
Yeah.
She does a good job with what she's given.
She can also alter emotions to some extent, but she can make someone feel less sad for a short time, or make a stubborn person more compliant. but mostly she uses her powers to make Ego go to sleep. Back with Rocket and the crew, they're being ambushed by the Ravagers, but Rocket has already set up traps and is hiding in the woods to counter ambush them.
Pretty funny
The
scene.
old Uno reverse card. They shoot at them, but he detonates anti-grav mines and sticks shock things to their heads. Two catch him lacking, but he just beats them up until Yondu arrives with the arrow. Yondu says that Aisha hired them to hand the Guardians over so that she can kill them, but lucky for them, Yondu won't hand them over. He just wants the batteries to sell. There's like a funny joke in here about fractions and how much a quarter is.
Yeah.
And Kraglin speaks up and Taserface says that it's time for a change in leadership. Before Yondu can whistle to take all the guys out, Nebula shoots off his fin, and then she shoots Rocket. Back with Quill, they arrive at Ego's planet, which is no larger than Earth's moon, he says, but I don't know about that. It's beautifully lush. They get off the cum saucer and go to his palace, where Gamora. What do you want me to get? Cum saucer, dude?
Spaceship.
No. See, so the ship lands, and then they come out on like a little disc. But a disc is looks a little wet. I don't know. It's a cum saucer.
Shot.
You want him to not do the rest of the movie recap? Are you prepared to take that over?
No, but I don't want to listen to him either. I'm kidding. Go on.
So Gamora asks Ego what he is, to which he says that he's a Celestial. We talked about that. A god with a small g. He remembers drifting through the cosmos alone, unsure of where he came from. But he eventually learned to control the molecules around him, eventually making himself into a planet. He searched for more life in the universe and made himself look like a person to find it. And yes, Drax, I got opinions. Talked about how he first experienced love with Meredith through these visual pods. They kind of twist and shift and all that stuff. Back with the Ravagers, they taunt Groot in a small cage, and they have Yondu tied up, and they shoot Tulk out of the airlock, along with a bunch of other people.
Man.
Taserface says it's time for them to rise back to their former glory. This is when Rocket first hears his name, and says, he's laughing, and he's like, well, it's metaphorical and strikes fear into the hearts of anyone who hears it. And people are like, okay. I don't know that.
How do we feel about Taserface?
I mean, I liked him for as long as he was on the screen, which wasn't long.
I worried that specifically the Taserface bit would not age well on a second viewing. I was wrong. It's still funny as fuck.
Okay.
Shawn did not find it funny.
I'm sorry. When Rocket goes off on him, and he's just like,
the Rocket
at least
part
I don't wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and have to call myself Taserface. I lost it.
I do like Rocket's lines in the scene. Yeah.
Oh, if we're talking Taserface
okay.
as a character, he's nothing. He's a plot device. That's it.
No, yeah, I wasn't as entertained by him. More Rocket's reaction to him. And even then, I was like, "That's okay, all right." But yeah,
really.
God, can we move on, please?
Maybe it's just because it's been 6 years. I still laughed when Rocket made fun of him.
The guy from Peacemaker's name is Jeff. G-E-F.
Thank you.
Geff?
They say Jeff. They say it at least once.
I'm calling him Geff. That's funny.
Tyler always wants me to talk about things that I don't like, even when I don't want to talk about it.
I needed some time to Google, dude.
You need to talk about the thing, even if it's not a thing you like. You got to stretch it out for the content.
I was sacrificing my friends for more time on the clock to Google.
This scene does a good job at what this entire movie does a good job of, which is fleshing out the characters that don't really get a ton in the first movie. I really, really like what we get from Yondu and Nebula in this movie. A lot more than any of the other characters, personally. I think that those are two characters that were fun in the first movie, but definitely didn't have a whole lot of depth to them. And this movie does a really good job of making them a lot more three-dimensional and making me care a lot more about them. And I think they do a good job of that.
So Nebula stops the killing for the day. Aisha wants to kill Rocket herself. And Yondu has a lot of bounties on his head. He has him give her 10% of the earnings and a new hand and a new ship. She says that once she's killed Gamora, she's going to buy a warship and hunt Thanos like a dog. Bark, bark, Shawn, am I right?
Shut up. Shut up.
Back on Ego's planet. Ego and Quill look at the statue of Meredith, and they argue about why Ego left. He says that his human form will perish if he doesn't return to his planet and the light within it. And said, I loved your mother, Peter. I couldn't stand to set foot on an earth where she wasn't living. You can't imagine what that's like. Now, I know exactly what that feels like. I had to watch her die. Ego offers to help teach Quill about the light within and his innate powers. And Quill concentrates and manifests some energy. It's kind of a touching moment. And then him and Ego play like energy catch.
Uh-huh.
Drax and Manus, Drax asks Manus how she got here. She says the Ego found her in her larval state, orphaned on her homeworld. Drax calls her a pet and hideous, but as a good thing.
Yeah,
He says when you're ugly and someone loves you, it's because they love you for who you really are. Beautiful people never know who to trust. Drax remembers taking his daughter out to the lakes on his planet, and this is when Mantis touches his shoulder and starts to cry because of the sadness that he feels.
I thought that was really touching.
Yeah.
They have their moments. I think overall Drax in this movie, his cruelty to her is kind of overdone and unwarranted. But they have like genuinely touching scenes.
Yeah, specifically the part that I liked about this scene was when she touches him and feels the I like the idea that she is a way of expressing what Drax feels through a normal person's lens, right? If that makes sense. And I think that because Drax is so stoic all the time and so,
for the people who can't
face.
read between the lines,
she
can sort of vocalize that, he still lost his entire family.
I think even beyond it being about reading the lines, I think it shows the magnitude of what he feels. That it isn't just lost, like it's overwhelming. Like it's an incredible sadness, an incredible loss that would crush pretty much anybody else except for him. And that's, I think that is the part that that really works about that scene, and maybe the only part of their dynamic that I thought really worked in this movie.
Yeah.
So Mantis says she has to tell Drax something, but Gamora comes out and asks Mantis to show them where they'll be staying. Mantis explains that no one lives on this planet because this planet is Ego. She's only there because she helps him sleep. Gamora asks about what Mantis was going to say to Drax, and she gets kind of nervous and doesn't answer. So back with the Ravagers.
Yeah. I hope you guys got that. Like Mantis gets kind of nervous and doesn't answer a question because that is Gamora is going to completely change as a character now for the rest of the movie, and it's based off of that one scene. She's going to act completely differently from here on out. And I just want to make sure that you guys got that one little bit right there because that's the feel for it. There
I
it
did.
is.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's following, dude. I just want to make sure we're all following. There's a one little scene, and now she's going to be completely different.
So back with the Ravagers, they throw Rocket and Yondu into a cell, and they'll deliver them to the Kree in the morning. They take Groot to the tailor. Yondu talks about how he was a Kree battle slave until Sakaar freed him and gave him a place with the Ravagers. Just had to adhere to the code. Too bad he was young, greedy, and stupid.
Man, everybody in this fucking movie has daddy problems.
Rocket asks why Yondu. Yeah, even Yondu. Rocket asks why Yondu didn't deliver Quill to Ego, but he gives the same explanation Quill gave to Ego. He was small, could fit into tight places, good for thieving, something like that.
So, I want to establish here. I can't. I can't. Is this a part? At some point in this movie, Rocket tells Yondu that Peter is with his dad. This is this scene. Okay, I just want us all to note that when that happens, Yondu does not really react to it, and we're gonna continue to track Yondu's knowledge of ego throughout this movie by starting right here, where it doesn't seem like he really cares at all that Peter would be with his dad. Doesn't really see anything wrong with that. Isn't worried about it. He's just kind of like, oh, okay, sure. As we
He's
continue
going through it at the moment, you know.
yeah, just as we continue through this
He's missing
movie,
a part of his head.
I think that the amount of information that Yondu has about ego changes, and not by like the way of he learns more, but like what he knew in the past, it doesn't quite line up. And this is the first part because I feel
I'm
like
surprised you're not bringing up his line at the end of Guardians 1 if we're getting into this shit.
I don't even remember it. It's been that long. It hasn't been that long.
Because there's a point at the end, like after everything, right before credits, where they're flying off, and I think it's oh god, what is the name of
Kraglin.
Kraglin talks to him, and it's like, good thing you didn't bring him to his dad, huh? And then he's just like, oh, what does he say?
I say, yeah, that guy's a jackass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he knows at least a little bit about ego.
Okay. Until now.
So Groot is being taunted and teased while they yell. And this is where first off, just this is where I get nervous because they spit like fucking 3 swear words in 11 seconds.
Yeah, he sent messages in this chat, and he was fucking scared. Hold on, what was it? I'm gonna find it. Me as they curse 3 times in 11 seconds, and it's James McAvoy fanning himself with just stacks of paper.
So they're being taunted, and Yondu wants Groot to grab the red fin in the drawer next to his bed. Pretty simple thing to do. And he sneaks through, and he comes back with Yondu's underwear, an orloni, a fake eye, a desk, a severed toe. Freshly severed toe.
Yeah.
And thinks he wants him to wear the Ravager pin as a hat. Groot doesn't like hat. It's a bit that I think goes a little bit too long. But eventually he finds the drawer and grabs it. Well, he grabs the wrong thing. He grabs a tin. And thankfully Kraglin's like, okay, we gotta
move on. We gotta get the movie needs to keep going.
I think by the time of the desk, the bit's done.
Yeah.
The desk is the best one because, like, how the fuck does he get that out of there?
My favorite one is the human toe thing. There's something
I think the toe's a bit much,
but
honestly.
It fits so well with Rocket, and like I think it fits with like what Groot has gotten from Rocket, like being raised by a sociopath.
I mean, stealing the guy's eye is already enough. Because at that point, it's just like, yeah, leave it, because then he'll wake up and he won't know where the fuck it went.
Yeah, I the human toe thing caught me way off guard. I didn't remember it, and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it caught me off guard in like the opposite direction. I was like, Groot, what the fuck?
So, Kraglin grabs the right fin, and they situate on Yondu. They apologize. And they play some music over the intercom while Yondu and the boys go ham. Very cool scene.
Great scene.
The Ravager ship explodes, but they get away on the quadrant. Taserface sends a message to the Sovereign with the coordinates of Yondu's ship, and have people. He's like, remember the name that sent their doom, Taserface. And she laughs at them. Just like I would.
Yeah.
Just like me for real.
Love the scene of them walking through the ship with the arrow killing everybody. James Gunn is really good at the action scenes for most of this movie. And this one is maybe the highlight for me. I really liked it.
Of Rocket the action scenes, probably.
Of the fight scenes, yeah.
Rocket sends them on the path to ego, but it turns out they're about to do 700 jumps. It's not healthy to do more than 50.
We start going through them and we see Korg in one of them, or not Korg, but one of Korg's people.
Yeah, you can't just call them all Korg, bro.
Well,
really insensitive.
You know, he's one of the rock people of Saturn or whatever.
Bruh.
That's what they're called.
Cronin?
The Stone Men of Saturn.
You can say he's the same species as Korg and move on.
Yeah, they're the Stone Men from Saturn. That's their name. Or, well, that's what they were called when they were first introduced in the comics. Anyways, I've been reading old Fantastic Four recently, and I got to the first appearance of them. But yeah, they're called, they're called the Stone Men from Saturn when they first introduced them.
Back on Ego, Quill gets Gamora to dance with him while listening to Sam cook. He asks when they're going to do something about this unspoken thing between them, and it kind of ruins the mood. And now Gamora is moving on to the more pressing issue, which is how weird this whole planet thing is.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get into an argument because now Quill thinks Gamora is trying to take this away from him.
It's just like, and I think it's a little fair if you look at it from his perspective of like, okay, you pushed me so hard to fucking come here, and now out of nowhere, you're like freaking out. Like, and we know that she's right.
I can understand both perspectives here, genuinely, because
Mantis said one weird thing. Why are we freaking out right now?
Listen, I think on this one specifically, the straw that breaks the camel's back especially is Quill coming on to her this strong, because up till now he sort of respected their distance.
Fair. Yeah,
and now
that's fair.
His ego is becoming overinflated, and it's a fucking problem because this is the bad influence of his biological father. So that starting up, motivating her to finally be like, all right, we got to sit down and talk about this because this shit ain't right. Something is wrong here. I get it.
So
yeah, to be clear, like Star-Lord fucking absolutely way out of line throughout this entire thing. I'm not trying to defend him and say that it's all Gamora's fault.
No, you're just like specifically focusing on Gamora's character inconsistency here, and I get that.
Yeah, for me it's just he's always an asshole. And like he's always kind of like
an
this
asshole who's like, when he's told no, it's like, all right, backing off.
Yeah.
So for this specifically.
Yeah, and this is just a scenario where for Gamora, this feels more weird to me than Star-Lord being an asshole, you know. And that's all I'm trying to say, because I realize as I'm saying it, it could come across wrong. I'm not trying to.
No,
I'm not trying to say it. Like
I get
that.
it. I understand what the point you're making. You're fine.
So Gamora goes and sits out in the field, trying to find a signal to contact Rocket, when she hears something. Maybe an actual rocket, because it's a ship. Specifically a ship with Nebula on it, trying to kill her.
If I had a nickel for every time that Nebula shows up out of nowhere in a spaceship in a jarringly quick action sequence, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. All I could think of when this happens is there's the scene in Infinity War when they're fighting Thanos, and then all of a sudden the ship comes out of the sky, and then Gamora's there, and you're like, or not Gamora, sorry, Nebula, and you're like, what the fuck? You're here too. Okay, we're moving, let's go. This feels like fucking convenient as hell for me. Like, I feel like the scene between Gamora and Peter is like intense in like a character way, and like we needed a moment to like come down from that. And then she's sitting on the field for about 3 seconds, and then all of a sudden the ship comes out of the sky, and then we're into what is like the most over the top action sequence in this movie, and also the most convenient action sequence in this movie. And I just this was a fight that I did not enjoy.
Not she got here so fast.
Like, it's like, you know what? I stopped questioning that after Infinity War, because Nebula apparently that's just something that Nebula can do.
Yeah, she got here real fast compared to Rocket and the other two.
Yeah. Well, you know how they say life finds a way? Despite everything, despite any hardships, Nebula finds a fucking way.
Nebula always finds a way. And then they go underground, and then Gamora like picks up a big fucking gun, and it's like a really big gun. And then she shoots her sister.
She's strong, apparently.
But then after she like picks up this really big gun and shoots her sister, she's like, actually, never mind. I don't want to kill her. Let me go save her. And I'm like, you just like, it's a little late.
They're both really bad shots. It's okay.
Like it's a little late, but it all works out because we get led to the secret about Ego.
Now the thing with that, you're saying it's coming from out of nowhere. They try to do 7 different plots in this movie, and I understand where they're coming from because they all come from the central theme of breaking the cycle.
Yes.
Of like any past history you've had with people that you've lived with or been related to. And from that point, I understand what they're trying to do.
narratively, it doesn't come from nowhere. I mean, pacing wise, just
pacing wise, I think it's absolutely just so much. And I think if Nebula mid-fight had shouted any of the shit she says afterwards, then Gamora's change of heart could have just completely made more sense. Like, if she had just screamed while they were fighting and just been, it was always you always wanted to win, fuck you. Anything like that, mid-fight. And this would be solved.
It's just like, okay, really intense emotional intercharacter scene between Gamora and Peter. All right, Gamora's hanging out for about 3 seconds on a field. Boom, boom, boom. It's just like, it's a lot really quick. We're
speedrunning Gamora's plot here.
Yeah, we're speedrunning to the end of this movie. We got to get going.
So Ego checks up on Peter because he saw Gamora storm off. And Ego compares he and Peter to the sailor in that song that they played a couple times.
Kurt Russell's really good at this movie.
And how they have things they love, but because they are gods, they'll have to leave it one day because they're immortal, as long as the light burns within the planet.
The whole him breaking down the lyrics is very, very well done. I don't love what's written for Ego, but the way that Kurt Russell performs it is really good.
Yeah.
Kurt
Russell.
And then he says some real villain shit. He says, only we can remake the universe. Only we can take the bridle of the cosmos and lead it to where it needs to go.
Okay, but there's other Celestials?
And Peter's like,
can only you do it?
Okay, how do we do that?
Let's feel like,
there's like a lot of them.
I think, even if there are multiple Celestials, I think this works on a specific level, because I think at his
he's
core,
trying to gaslight his
Ego
son
is an asshole.
Yeah.
Who do you think wants to fucking hang out with Ego and do anything with Ego?
Dude, even Arishem is like, dude, you're too much.
Ego is the kid at school who sits alone at lunch because nobody wants to hang out with him, even though there's plenty of other kids who are just like him. They formed a clique and then excluded him specifically. And so he's pissed about it. So he's like, oh, we got to remake the universe, Peter. Let's go. You're the only one who understands me, Peter. You know?
Even Arishem is like, dude, you're being a lot right now.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm a lot, but like, dude, come on. At this point, all I can think is, I'm like, does Ego know the Eternals? That'd be a cool scene. What's going on with that?
So Mantis overhears and goes to tell Drax, but he thinks she's trying to sleep with him. Then he gags because he's so repulsed. Mantis tells Drax that they're in danger, and then this is when G-Money and N-Dog come across the glowing cave. Ego tells Quill that everything is temporary.
Did you call them G-Money and N-Dog?
Yeah.
I didn't hear N-Dog. All I heard was dog, so I thought you were calling Nebula a dog. And I was like, oh my god.
So Ego tells Quill that everything is temporary, but they are forever. He says that he left out a detail. When he found life, he found it disappointing. He came to realization he did not want to walk among other life forms at all. He taps Quill on the head, and Quill sees everything and all of eternity, not to be confused with the being from Love and Thunder. And this is when Gamora and Nebula come across a cave filled with the skeletons of all of Ego's past children. Well, not all of them, But
well, you're about 5 years early on that, Tyler. I need you to slow down.
But there are some Easter eggs in this, right? So if you look in the pile of skulls, right, there is a Gungan skull.
Don't tell me that.
Ego likes to get down. You know what I'm saying?
Is Star Wars canon to the MCU? Is that what you're telling me right now? Okay, so the big board just got a lot bigger.
Ego watched Star Wars when he was down there with Peter's mom, and he went, "That's quirky. That's funny."
But he would have only seen like the first one.
I'm sure Gungans are his OCs at that point. We
can
bring
it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
Was 1980 the last time that he saw? When did Peter's mom die?
89.
When did Peter?
He would have had to be like.
Wait, I got it.
Anywhere from 8 to 10.
88.
Okay, so he was probably like.
Yeah, he was like 8-ish, 7 probably. Yeah. So At that point, the original trilogy is out. But when was the last time that he was on Earth?
True, he could have
Well-
visited after she died. That's.
I doubt he came back after she died.
I kind of don't think he did.
I mean, he.
But he is a
Hypothetically,
celestial,
he
so maybe
could've.
he just knows. Maybe he had maybe he really liked the original movies and sent Mantis to go kidnap George Lucas and was like, "All right, what else do you got? Tell me about it." And that's where he
This
learned
isn't
about
the
Gungans
holiday
from.
special. We're not having kidnapping of celebrities for our own reasons here.
But that
Sean,
might not have been the first
knowing
time
about
that
the
she
movies
did it.
doesn't matter, Sean. He had a kid with a Gungan. That's it.
But the Gungans aren't real. You're not going to tell me that that Star Wars is
Sean,
canon.
Well,
A
to the
long
MCU.
time ago in a galaxy far,
Sean,
far away,
Tyler,
bro.
Tyler,
I don't,
Sean,
I don't know what to tell
if you're
you,
gonna
dude.
say that, you need to put it on the board.
All right,
I want to
Sean.
see connections. I will accept that if
Sean,
you put
only
Star Wars
movies
on
we
the
covered
board.
Sean,
Sean,
on
I'm
the
gonna blow
board.
your mind here.
Okay.
Sometimes people make up a thing, and then that thing ends up being real, but somewhere completely unrelated, where you don't know. So
I don't.
maybe the
Gungans,
Gungans
though?
are an invention that is, similar looking to a real alien species.
Maybe. Gungans,
Anyways,
though.
Sean, you haven't let me get to the other skull of note here, which is
Okay, go ahead.
It looks kind of like Stitch's skull. The skull of one Stitch. I don't know.
Okay, so how does this movie fit into the Pixar theory?
That's not.
I
Nope.
know. Look, it was a reach of a joke, but
I
it
also
was.
thought you were about to say Kingdom Hearts because that's not a reach. He's in that.
I know, but that would have been easier. It's an easier joke. I wanted to reach further.
So
Is all about the
Rocket,
Pixar theory. Pixar theory is crazy.
Rocket, Groot, Yondu, and Kraglin are still in their 700 jump cycle when they pass by Stan Lee in an astronaut suit talking to the Watchers. He talks about how he worked for FedEx.
Yeah, one of my
which
favorite
is a-
Stanley
Which
cameos.
is a callback to the Civil War scene, kind of, but not
Yeah.
really, because technically that hasn't happened yet.
So,
I mean,
fuck,
they're-
you're right. Oh no.
Eh,
Watcher experiences
is still
all of time
2014.
non-linearly.
Yeah.
So maybe he's time traveling. There you go. Boom. Done.
or maybe he was undercover as a FedEx guy for a while.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
Don't worry too much about it. It's still gonna be on the board. We finally make it to Ego, and Rocket says they're here to save Quill so we can hold it over his head, but he can't fool Yondu. He knows the kind of guy that Rocket is way too well. Says, I know everything about you. I know you play like you're the meanest and the hardest, but actually you're the most scared of all. I know you steal batteries you don't need, and you push away anyone who's willing to put up with you because a little bit of love reminds you of how big and empty that hole inside you actually is. I know who you are, boy,
dude.
because you're me.
Damn. Yondu really is the best part of this movie.
I do think this is a very good speech from Yondu. I do
Uh-huh.
think it's weirdly timed. I do think there are way more pressing matters to talk about, but I understand Yondu's gotta die. We gotta put the emotional stuff in here first before we get him on that planet. You know?
Yeah, I think were it not for the 7,000 Groot jokes earlier, when they were both in the cell, would have been a perfect moment for this shit. Would have made a lot more sense because look at where it got them both in the exact same place.
What about the Groot jokes?
You can have this emotional talk and then have Groot walk up all sad and
I
just
don't
have
know.
Rocket start talking to Groot and then Yondu smile because it reminds him of how he treats Peter. Boom, done.
I don't know. We really needed to have all of the Groot jokes exactly like
I'm
that.
saying the Groot jokes can still be there. We
I
just,
don't know, but
we
then
just,
if
I'm saying
you
we
know,
could've got rid of them.
drop that shit in.
I'm saying we can get
Groot
rid
can
of the
still
Groot
cut off the
joke.
man's toe. I'm just saying, we don't need to remove that shit.
No, we should have cut it out. I'm with Tyler.
Like his toe.
Yeah, like the toe. Exactly. Boom.
So Ego calls his purpose the expansion. Almost copyrighted because of the expanse, but he's a couple letters off. He's all right. He's planted thousands of extensions of himself on thousands of worlds. He wants to cover everything that exists until it's all Ego. He can't do it alone, though. More than one will be needed. Celestial, that is. Out of all of his children, none of them carried the celestial genes until Quill came around. Something about the humans, dude. They're crazy.
So, thinking on this, are the celestial genes just like really recessive? Or is it just that a lot of species aren't compatible with it? Like, what the fuck is the deal here? What is the genetic deal here?
He
Ego?
put all
Well,
his genes in the cum saucer.
It's so difficult because, like, fucking none of them are like Ego. So we don't ever see a Celestial that is like Ego. We don't ever see another Celestial that could even bone down.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to be like, at
You
least
see-
for me to even think about like, how the fuck does that even work? How does having kids with a Celestial work? Like,
we see the Celestial in the flashback in the first movie, and the only one we see before
is
that,
Arishem and
well, maybe before this point is
oh.
Nowhere, which is the head of
Yeah.
a Celestials.
and
We never see
later
one
on-
that's like different than that, other than Ego.
So yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested if they came back to this at some point. Maybe in Eternals too. You know, please. Good God,
I'd be
please,
curious.
please.
So
Maybe another Eternals movie.
Quill is feeling sad about his friends, but Ego says they're beyond those things. Quill recalls that Ego says he loved Meredith. He says he did. He came to Earth 3 times to see her, and if he came back a 4th time, he'd never leave. So he pulled a quirky little move and put a tumor in her head.
Quirky little move. It was a surprise tool that he would use later.
The mouse tool.
Wait, you're telling me this guy's the bad guy? What?
And then
It's
we
very
get
well delivered. It's very
the
well
best
delivered.
part in all of cinema history.
What?
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 And Quill just starts blasting.
Oh, I love when he starts blasting.
Ego's flabbergasted, even turning into David Hasselhoff.
They're a
for a
pretty good
moment.
cameo. Pretty
Yeah, it's
good
not a
little-
bad cameo.
I prefer
So-
Zardu Hasselfrau, but yeah.
So Ego brings a tendril out of the ground and spears Quill with it, saying that he'll spend the next 1,000 years as a battery. A battery that Yondu stole. They didn't need. How about that? How about that thematic timing? That full circle, baby. Here we are.
Wow.
Gamora finally gets a hold of Rocket, who's flying into the planet, and Ego's planet face is now more visible.
Looks pretty cool.
Ego activates the buds all over the universe, and we see the one at the Dairy Queen erupt. But Yondu flies in and crashes into Ego, calling him a jackass again. Callback from the first movie. We talked about that. They need to go to the caverns under the surface. Why did I put service? What am I wrote these in one day. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To have a shot at killing him. Yondu and Quill reunite, and Yondu says that he wasn't going to hand Quill over after figuring out what happened to the other kid.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Shawn.
So he figured out what happened to the other kids, and yet has no reaction or like. And I get the idea that maybe like, oh, he's going through so much earlier that he doesn't react. But I think it would have been emotionally stronger if we had seen that Yondu is so so dead inside throughout that whole scene, and then the mention of Quill being with his father makes him go, "That's my fucking boy." Oh no! Like I know what is gonna happen now because apparently I know, but I don't know that he knows at that point because he doesn't act like he knows. It frustrates me how much Yondu knows about Ego throughout this movie because later on he asks Peter what was going on with the father. It might have been in this scene.
I think
It feels like he's all over the place in terms of what knowledge he actually has about Ego.
this script in particular probably feels like it had the most like either executive meddling or add-ons. And I think it just needed like a couple more passes for editing, just to
I
make
think it
sure
needed to be
everything
longer.
flowed and made sense.
Like it feels really long, but even with all the either cut some of these plot lines out or it needed more time for these plot lines to work. It's just
Well, this is like our last real chance to see the Guardians before Infinity War, so I understand trying to at least get some kind of not even resolution, because for a lot of them there's no resolution, but just some sort of growth before that happens.
Mhm.
But the way in which it's done, there's so many extra jokes you can cut out.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to make a Guardians movie jokey, but there was a balance in the first one between the heart and the jokes. And I think one more pass, just editing, revising, would have saved it.
Yeah. And then for the rest of this fight, I think this fight's I think it's a clusterfuck. I have no idea what happens in what order. It's kind of cool to look at. I think it's way too much. I think that like people say that a lot about Marvel final fights, and I don't agree normally, but this one I was just like, oh, there's a lot happening as Tyler will walk us through it. It's a lot.
Yeah. So they use the mining rig to dive deep into Ego, while Quill and Rocket banter in a friendly way. This is where Mantis goes, "That crappy puppy is so cute, he makes me want to die."
I like that line.
Yeah.
Kraglin's on the ship eating soup while he hears the Sovereign fleet warp in, and this time, Aisha is piloting.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
He
Oh,
tries to
fuck.
call Yondu, but the connection is spotty. The crew make it to Ego's core, and isn't it funny, right? Isn't it funny how the opening of this movie talked about how going inside the monster didn't make any sense, but now what are we doing? That's called a callback.
5 out of 5.
The Sovereign made their way into the core as well somehow, and they can't use the rig's laser anymore because they shut out the generators or something. So they'll have to use the bombs, and the batteries to get the sucker done. And they'll just have to get out of here pretty fast. No biggie. Mantis needs to put Ego to sleep, and she says that she can't, but Drax believes in her.
Why? Why does he believe in her?
I
Why?
don't know.
What in this fucking movie would lead me to believe that they have had a deep enough emotional bond for this scene to make any goddamn sense? Why?
They're both just pretty weird people. Who knows how they interact?
See, you're saying this, and you're questioning the actual, like, character growth throughout this movie. I'm just thinking, girl Lagan, baby, let's fucking go.
Fair enough. Fucking fair enough. Fair enough.
But she does it, and they need to place the bomb on Ego's core. But they can't fit through the hole, so they opt to send Groot, who's skinny and small and can fit into tight spaces. Good for thieving.
He's a baby.
You know what we call that? Smart.
A callback. Full circle.
Also a
Here we
callback.
are.
Man.
This movie's on fire today.
Yeah. Absolutely. The
This
third
movie
act of
is-
this movie is on fire.
This movie is firing wildly, but it's hitting as much as it misses. So
Yeah.
So Rock explains the process to Groot, and he fails to grasp it many times. While Rocket and Quill are bickering, Groot takes the bomb and just runs off.
okay, but you're missing
He's-
the entire Scotch tape bit because I
Yeah,
actually really love that bit.
I think it's an okay bit.
I think it's another bit that goes on too long. I'm sorry.
Yes, correct. But when Peter is asking and then he gets shot, I think that's really funny. If Groot
Yeah.
had just picked it up as soon as Peter goes, "Ow, what'd you shoot me for? God damn it!" Then that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
So they're Aisha and the rest corner Quill, but Nebula uses her cybernetics to power the rig, and they use the lasers to destroy the fleet. And Aisha is pretty salty about that one. GG, no re. The rig blows, but everyone is safe. You look like Mary Poppins. Is he cool? Hell yeah, he's cool. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was all over
God.
Tumblr back in the day.
it's still great. And it leads into a hell of a hero shot of all of them with the camera spinning around.
Yeah.
A much more visually interesting spinning hero shot than that of Avengers 1.
So Mantis gets knocked out, so Ego wakes back up. They get Kraglin to set up an extraction point, and Drax takes Mantis up using the arrow rig, but guess what? Got those sensitive nipples.
Jesus Christ.
Terrible, terrible part. It's my nipple! It's like I'm in an Old Spice commercial.
It does.
Gamora falls, but Nebula saves her. But now Yondu, Peter, and Rocket are fighting Ego. There's a huge action scene. Everyone's making to the ship in groups. Ego steps out, and everyone starts to get overwhelmed. And Quill gets speared again, continuing the expansion. And we see one more on Earth. So as well as Xandar and some other planets. Yondu tells Peter that he doesn't use his head to fly the arrow. He uses his heart.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up.
Quill thinks about his mom and Gamora and the Guardians, and he powers up and he starts fighting Ego, which stops the expanse. We also get a cameo in this scene
Yeah.
from Where is it? Wait, make sure I'm in the right chat before I just post this. A cameo from Peter Quill's grandfather.
Oh
shit.
yeah, that is very cool. Number one plot thread that I do not think they're going to come back to in Guardians Volume 3, but I would really love it if they did.
His granddad?
I feel
Yeah.
like him revisiting Earth.
I hope
like
so.
going to Missouri and seeing his family would be an interesting plot point. I just need it to fit cohesively because we've talked about cramming too much into a movie. So
yeah, which is why I'm like, I don't think it's gonna happen. But just the I think like the scene in Guardians 1, I think it seemed clear to me that his granddad, cared about him. So I'd like to see that reunion. But I agree. I don't really think that there's time to do that.
So Groot finds the core/brain and sets the timer correctly. And Rocket comes out to get Yondu and Quill, but Yondu says they need to give him this. Groot welcomes him to the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, but he says fucking and not freaking. That doesn't count on the swear word count.
Yeah, I did have a concern that Tyler was going to end up counting those.
Quill and Ego continue to fight, and they're making constructs like a giant punching man and Pac-Man. And on the ship, Gamora is asking where Quill is and goes to get him, but Rocket shocks her and says, "I'm sorry, I can only afford to lose one friend today."
Oh, that's a good line.
Genuinely a good moment.
Even though technically he'd be losing two. The bomb explodes, and Ego melts into dust, and Quill loses his powers. The planet's exploding, and he's left there to die until Yondu saves him. And here's my favorite line in the movie. "He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy."
Yeah.
It's a great line. And the music that plays there is very good as well.
Yeah, they leave Ego's atmosphere as he implodes, and Yondu is in space without any air as he dies in Quill's arms. Says, "I'm sorry I didn't do none of it right. I'm damn lucky you're my boy." They hold a small ceremony for Yondu, wrapping him in metals and putting him with his little console trinkets. Peter talks about how Yondu was just like David Hasselhoff. The dad he always wished he had. He had kick-ass adventures, hooked up with hot women, fought robots, all that stuff. Gamora goes to talk to Nebula to reconcile their differences, and she gives Nebula a hug, and then Nebula kind of goes away. They send Yondu off, and Kraglin gives Quill a Zune that Yondu was holding on to him, and Quill gives him the arrow to Kraglin. As Yondu ashes flies into space, Quill listens to father and son. They look outside, and the rest of the Ravagers come for a Ravager funeral. They shoot off at the colors of a gourd and the horns of freedom.
Yeah.
This Sakaar Ravager clan is here with Martinex, which is the little crystal dude, played by Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, shit.
He says that Yondu didn't let him down. Other Ravager clan leaders are also here, including Sakaar's wife, Aletta Ogord, played by Michelle Yeoh. And Rocky realizes that Yondu didn't drive his friends away. And then it gets kind of personal, and Quill's like, "Okay, maybe you're talking about you right now." Gamora accepts that there is an unspoken thing between them, and the sparks make an arrow in space. And that is where the movie ends. So, we get a pre-credit scene of Kraglin. He's practicing with the arrow, and he's not doing too good. And he stabs Drax a little bit with it. And then we get a mid-credit scene where Sakaar has gathered the Ravagers together again as a team, with himself, his wife, Aletta, Martinex, Charlie 27, played by Ving Rhames, Mainframe, played by Miley Cyrus, and Krugar, the red guy. He didn't speak. Who's doing sorcery. He's doing fucking magic.
He sure is.
That's crazy.
Hope we see it again.
In an alternate universe in the comics, he is the apprentice of Doctor Strange, becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. He's a fucking sorcerer. I can't wait for I can't wait for Mortal to come get his ass, dude. I can't wait.
That's two. You're not allowed to do more than
no.
one.
I'll allow this one because it's clowning on Morta specifically, and I think that's funny as fuck.
So, that's mid-credit scene 1. Mid-credit scene 2.
Yeah.
Aisha is frantic because she's been summoned by the council. No worries, though. What she created here will ease their worries. It's a new birthing pod that's making something so powerful, it'll destroy the Guardians, and she'll call him Adam. Is that like in reference to the Bible? Because have you read the Bible, Aisha? I don't know. But tune in to Guardians 3. We'll see Will Poulter as Adam Warlock.
Woo!
Woohoo.
Yeah.
See, she said that, and all I could think of was the fucking Vine, just going, Adam.
That's a Guardians 3. You know, it's a little wild to me that the Adam thing is actually going to be continued because there was a reason why they introduced Adam Warlock, and it's not just because James Gunn thinks Adam Warlock is cool. Adam Warlock is pretty important to like the Infinity Saga.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up not using him, which is whatever. But at this point, I'm kind of like, I have enough faith in James Gunn that it's going to be good, but this feels like introducing him a little too late at this point. Like, I don't really know how this is going to work.
You know, it'll work out. And then during the credits scene, we get a cameo from the Grand Master, played by Jeff Goldblum.
Wait, we do? Did I miss a credit scene?
No, it's not a credit. It's not a credit scene. It's in the credits. In those,
I was skipping the credits.
Oh, yeah, no, I just hit the skip credits button on Disney.
In the circles that they have characters and stuff in them.
Huh?
Jeff Goldblum is there as the Grand Master. He's in character.
Well, shit.
It's weird.
Oh, also Tyler, related, but you kind of glossed over it. So there's not really there wasn't really time for me to drop it in. You know what else you have to put on the board, right? Because Pac-Man was in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Huh? Guardians and X8 in the same fucking universe. Let's go.
You know what that means? Pixels, baby.
I thought you were
and that means
Dan
that
Carrero in a Guardians movie, and I was gonna pop the fuck off.
And every single Adam Sandler movie through Pixels.
Yo,
let's go.
Click.
Oh, dude, click.
Yo, 51st Dates, dude.
There he is on the right, the Grandmaster.
Yeah, I see his ass.
Yeah, he sure is.
All right, so that's in the credits. Mid-credit scene number 3. Peter Quill walks in Groot's room. We're now in the present, I assume, because he is now older. And it's a mess, and Quill has to be an adult. And now the post-credit scene. The Watchers leave Stan Lee on that rock, and he can't get home.
So this is obviously like outside of the universe, right? And this is outside of like the multiverse or whatever. So like when you watch What If, when they're like outside of it, that's where this is taking place. And what we're learning here is that this is why Stan Lee's character stops appearing after Avengers or Endgame. That was the last cameo, right?
Endgame was the last cameo.
Yeah. So what we're finding out, he gets taken out of time after he does that cameo, and left behind here. This is actually that's what canonically what happens here. So.
Okay, so the movie's over now.
Yeah, thank God.
Finally.
Let's go into the connection. There aren't a lot, obviously. Obviously, lots of connections to Guardians 1. We get like the little trinket that Yondu got. All the characters come back, except for anyone who's dead. We even see Cosmo. And then Howard the Duck. Also, the connection to Civil War through Stan Lee. And to Thor Dark World because of the Cronins. So,
Saturn Men from Mars, yes. Or not Mars. Fuck! It's Neptune.
We also have Doctor Strange through through the guy doing
Saturn.
magic, right?
God damn.
Yeah, the guy doing magic as well.
Yep.
So that's all there is. So of course, connected Thor Dark World on the big board as the little one squeaks his way out. On the big board, connected to Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 1, and Thor Dark World. All right, let's talk about the swear chart. Let's go into my favorite segment here, the one that gives me the most strife.
Language.
Let's go.
All right, so as per usual with the Guardians movies, I had to readjust the chart.
Holy
my
shit.
God.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Damn.
this movie has a whopping 26 soft swear words and 7 hard swear words. So Ant-Man was previous the record holder. Guardians 2. We're just going up. We're just going up. But no one's crossed that 7 hard swear threshold yet.
Yeah.
No one's crossed it. So let me open up the video. I have it actually.
Oh, here we go.
I'm excited.
All right. At 4:06, Rocket says.
Damn it. I'm using my left eye?
At 12:03, Rocket says.
Oh, shit. I'm using my wrong eye again, aren't I?
At 13:50, Peter Quill says.
Shadow.
At 16:17, a sovereign citizen says. At 22:48, Peter Quill says. At 24:14, Peter Quill says.
And who the hell are you?
At 26:20, Yondu with a double whopper here says.
You can go to hell then! I don't give a damn what you think of me!
At 27:52, a random Ravager off screen says.
Who the hell is that?
At 29:22, Ego says.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
At 33:08, Rocket says.
Hope Daddy isn't as big of a dick as you, orphan boy.
So mean. At 41:38, Taserface says.
Damn straight, lad. He's gone soft.
At 41:49, Tulk says.
Punch your dog!
At 50:44, Rocket says.
You know what would be a really kick-ass name? Taserface!
Thank you for putting the whole clip.
And at 51:04, Rocket also says.
Well, dying is certainly better than having to live an entire life as a moronic shitbag who thinks Taserface is a cool name.
At 1 hour and 24 seconds, Rocket says.
It's a day for dumbass names.
At 1 hour and 29 seconds, Rocket also says.
You smiled, and for a second I got a warm feeling, but then it was ruined by those disgusting-ass teeth.
At 1 hour and 35 seconds, Yondu says.
You're like a professional asshole or what?
Yes, he actually is.
Yeah.
At 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 31 seconds, I almost missed this one. Gamora says. Try to sneak it past me. At 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 43 seconds, Peter says.
I'm gonna make some weird shit.
At 1 hour, 24.
I almost think that line is funnier out of context than it is in context.
It's also the delivery and him being
Yeah.
abruptly cut off.
Yeah.
At 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 25 seconds, Yondu says.
What the hell you doing, boy?
At 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 18 seconds, Yondu says.
I know them scientists what made you never gave a rat's ass about you.
And at 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 22 seconds, Yondu also says.
It's like my own damn parents who sold me, their own little baby, into slavery.
At 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 55 seconds, Gamora says.
We need to find Peter now and get off this damn planet.
At 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 50 seconds, Ego says.
Who in the hell do you think you are?
Another great delivery.
At 1:32:04, Yondu says.
Hey there, jackass!
Another great delivery.
At 132.54, Nebula says.
Whatever I need to do to get a damn ride home.
At 137.50, Yandu says.
Oh, hell!
At 143.52, Peter says.
Hell yeah, he's cool.
At 153.18, Yandu says.
I ain't done nothing right my whole damn life, Rat. You need to give me this.
At 157.33, Yandu says.
I'm sorry I didn't do none of it right. I'm damn lucky you, my boy.
At 159.42, Peter Quill says.
Both Yondu and David Hasselhoff went on kick-ass adventures and hooked up with hot women. And fought robots.
At 2:08.54, Alita Ogord says.
Hell yes.
And at 2:08.59, Takara Ogord says.
Let's say we steal some shit.
And that is it.
I hope that we get that original Guardians team as like one of those Disney Plus specials that they're doing now. I think that'd be a fun little thing that you could get them to do. I just want to see more of Sylvester Stallone.
All right, let's go into the rankings. Shibuya, where do you rank this movie?
Okay, so coming in here, I think my opinion of it was a little bit higher just in isolation. Yeah, some of the jokes don't land on a second watch, but I was surprised at how many did. Yes, Drax's character gets worse as you go on, but here, it's not as bad as it gets later. Like, coming from the holiday special to this, I was pleasantly surprised that he still has any semblance of, like, Guardians 1 Drax characterization. But just discussing it and going through all of it, my ranking of the movie went down a point. Because I think this script absolutely just needed another editing session, just another run-through, make sure things made sense and weren't, fucking rushed. I like where it's coming from, I like the heart of it, I just think ultimately it's a flawed movie. So I'm gonna rank this number 9 on my list, right under Ant-Man and above Iron Man 2.
Okay. Shawn?
Yeah, like I said, this was a movie that I didn't really like when I first saw it, and I thought maybe it was because I love the first one so much, and so even I thought, this movie's fine, but it's just not as good as the first one. On a rewatch, I felt actually no, this movie just has problems, unfortunately. So I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a 3 or a 3.5 out of 5. I really don't know where. It's somewhere around there. But I put it. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7th on my list. Above Age of Ultron, below Ant-Man. I think that I enjoyed it a little bit more than Age of Ultron. Actually, watching it
That's not a high bar, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's not very good. It's got problems. I think the best way to put it is that I think that it misses more than it hits, but its hits are really high, and its misses are just like, okay, all right. None of its bad moments are like, this is terrible, and all of its good moments are, this is great. So that's how I feel about it.
And for me, it's an okay movie. A little long in the tooth. Cut out a lot of that Groot stuff. Because I hate Baby Groot. Come at Shawn for that. If you want to talk to me about that, please at Shawn AFK on Twitter.
Yeah, please. At Shawn _AFK. Make sure.
Yeah, don't at the wrong Shawn. Don't flame somebody unrelated to the podcast.
So at the end of the day, I put it at number 8 on my list, below Iron Man 3, and above Doctor Strange. So
we all put it like just under Ant-Man almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
So before we get into the plugs, I gotta hit like a bites the dust. We gotta go back a bit.
All right.
Because I definitely fucking forgot a part of the language section. We're going back in. Hopping back in the language section.
Okay, throw up the rewind.
Because I forgot to talk about where the characters rank now.
Yeah, that is
Oh,
a new
yes,
segment, huh?
thank
There
you, yes.
are some switch ups. So,
Oh.
11 people sweared in this movie. Rocket, he was at 5. He went up 7 to 12. So now he's at 12. Peter was at 8. Now he's at 14. The NPCs were at 13, and now they are at 15. And Yondu was at 6 and went up to 16. Ego went up 2. Taserface, Tulk got 1. Nebula 1. Alita 1. Takar 1. And Gamora got her first 2. Which changes the rankings here. So the top 10 are Tony Stark at 24. Yondu at 16. He's now shot up to second place.
Damn.
The NPCs are at 15. Peter Quill is at 14. Rocket is at 12. Steve Rogers and Nick Fury are at 11. Clint Barton and Sam Wilson are at 10. And rounding out the top 10 is Luis at 8. So, big shakeups here from the Guardian.
And they'll get even more soon when we get to 2018.
Oh, don't worry about that yet.
I fear for the list. I'm having to like resize and it's so much. So now, back out of the language section. So, Shawn, where can everyone find you?
Y'all can follow me on Twitter at Shawn_AFK.
Shibuya.
You can follow me at Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch, just at Shibuya Gato.
And you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Tyler Rims. Do a lot of stuff there. And for this podcast, you can follow MCUnhinged on Twitter at MCUnhinged. You can also find us on Anchor at anchor.fm/MCU-unhinged. You can also find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also if we're not in a place that you listen to, come over to the Anchor page, copy that RSS feed, plug it into your podcast app of choice, and we will pop up there regularly for you. All right, next time, we'll finally get a good fucking MCU movie.
Yeah, I'm so excited for
The
next
first
time.
good
Holy
movie of the
shit.
MCU.
Holy
With
shit.
I'm excited for all of us to
Spider-Man
finally have the same opinion.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
the MCU starts
Homecoming.
next time, dude. Oh, man.
The
It'll be
My
great.
Boy cinematic universe, because Tony Stark is back, baby! Let's go!
Yeah. Until freshman year when they replace his ass with
We're not
Norman
talking
Norman
about
Osborn.
AUs. We were
Thank
talking about
you.
main universe MCU. Fuck that
They
shit.
said it's canon, but it's clearly not. But anyways, that's it for us. Let's get out of here. Shawn, sign us off.
All right, see you guys in the Marvelverse.
We'll see you next time, because we're coming home. It's
Damn.
not that hard.
Yeah, well, I'm stupid, is what you failed to
Hop on your cum
recognize about this
saucers and show up next time.
Fuck you, nerds. All right, there we go.
And 1.
2.
3.
All right. Every time we do that, I think about the owl from the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial.
1, a 2,
A 2, a 3.
They were so fucking rude to that kid. All the time, dude.
And for what?
Whenever he
Tootsie
got
Pops.
the upper hand, dude, I was like, yeah, another W for my man, dude.
Another W for my man. I love it.
Is this your fucking man's? This fucking
This is your
child?
hero.
This
is
child
your
in the woods,
champion.
yeah, dude. He deserved it. He had a simple question, and no one took him seriously. Like, he's a scientist, by all means.
Is that right?
I mean, the
Yeah.
owl is assisting him in the scientific method.
I guess
Poorly,
that's
but he's
true.
he is assisting him.
So which one
It
is
takes
Frankenstein?
more than 3 licks.
Which one is Frankenstein and which one is Frankenstein's monster in this commercial?
do you think this owl manufactured this kid from pieces?
He might have. He might have. Or did the kid manufacture the owl from pieces of owl beings?
If the kid does not know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, do you think this kid knows necromancy?
Okay, now hold on a second. I know how to build a desk, right? Like if it comes with instructions, right?
Okay,
I don't know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
Keep all of this in the
Those
episode. This is
things
gold,
aren't
man.
like those things aren't like mutually exclusive. Like, it's like knowing how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop is a very like niche piece of knowledge to have.
Yes, and so is fucking necromancy.
Yeah,
Necromancy is more
it's not
complicated,
common.
actually.
I'm not saying that like I guess my point is
I'm
like you
saying
don't need
that
to know both, you know?
You don't need to know both, but considering where this child's interests are at this moment, I don't think that he has thought of creating life.
Just wait until we get my 3-hour remake of the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial.
Do
where
it.
I really dive into the what makes that child tick.
Sean, you should make a video essay about it. That shit would blow up on YouTube.
Yeah, but I only
A
can
brief
make
summary.
I can only make shit up
6
enough for about
hours.
2 minutes of a joke. I can't lie about the fucking Tootsie Roll Pop ad for
Don't
an
lie.
hour.
Simply embellish.
It's the same thing.
No, the fuck it isn't. Embellishing is when you take what's already there and you expand that shit.
With
I
lies.
saw a video covering whether the president from Cory in the House is Democrat or Republican. It was an hour long. That video banged, but there was no substance there.
Okay, but what was their conclusion?
Yeah, also, yeah.
Democrat because in an episode of Hannah Montana, that president is out and Obama is there, which means that
okay.
Obama was his VP.
Oh.
Okay.
It's incredibly funny. I know I kind of just spoiled it, but go watch it. It's a good video. That man watched all the episodes of Cory in the House for that shit.
Rest in peace, President Martinez.
Genuinely.
Oh, jeez.
You good?
My mic's too close.
Yeah, get away from us, dude. I don't like you being that close.
I got a new mic stand, so I gotta work it out.
Yeah, you gotta get away from me.
All right, that's enough banner for now. Go ahead and end the episode here. Okay, turning my teeth.
Sean, if it upsets you that much, you should just snipe the intro from him 1 week.
I don't want that level of responsibility.
Sean, you can do the intro, dude, if you want. I'm not gonna
What's
send you to the
up,
stats,
Marvel
but
nerds? It's your boys, MCUnhinged.
And you've just insulted our audience. Congratulations.
We're back
Sean.
again. They fucking know. If you're fucking listening to this, you're a fucking nerd and you know it. Like, come on.
What if they're geeks and not nerds?
yeah,
You
there's a
considered
difference.
that alternative, my
There's a
guy?
difference.
Are
What
we
if they're
bringing back the
dweeb,
nerd
you
and
know?
geek wars of fucking early 2000s? What
Everyone
the fuck
counts
is...
out the dweebs.
No,
dude.
I'm just saying not everyone identifies under the
You know
same
what?
label.
Oh my god. We really doing this with nerd and geek right now?
Yes, it's funny.
All right. Anyways, if you guys want to send hate tweets my way, it's at Shawn_AFK. Any engagement is good engagement. Don't forget to drop a follow before you absolutely eviscerate my ass. Trying to get the number up.
Yeah. Talk to them about The Last Jedi. How much you dislike it, probably.
If you guys want a Twitter punching bag, follow me at Shawn_AFK. As long as you follow, I'll take it. I don't care. You can say whatever you want to me. Have a bad day. Just tweet terrible shit at me. It's fine. That's what Tyler does.